Welcome to Policy on Demand Week in Review. I'm Pat Brown.
What would you tell clients are your takeaways from this week?
This week was all about contrast from my perspective. The OECD had a major tax conference in Washington, D.C. this week, where there was a lot of focus and attention, not surprisingly, on the OECD project. And OECD officials, U.S. Treasury Department officials, foreign government officials are all very bullish with respect to that project and that project moving ahead. Technical work is proceeding with respect to the implementation framework on Pillar 2, and work is also progressing on Pillar 1. So a very bullish tone from the OECD as well as other government officials. Now, with respect to the contrast, we saw this week is the end of the French presidency of the European Union. And despite multiple attempts to do so, France has been unable to get the unanimous agreement that's needed to move forward with a Pillar 2 directive in the European Union. Now, focus and attention will shift over to the Czech Republic. They assume the presidency of the EU. Will they be able to reach agreement?
Which question related to policy did you get asked the most, and how did you respond?
This week, the question that I was asked most frequently was some version of, where are we? And that's both with respect to the potential for reconciliation legislation in the United States, as well as with respect to the OECD project. With respect to reconciliation legislation and the possibility for significant tax changes, the answer is we're going to have to wait and see whether or not the Democrats are able to come together in the Senate with a package that can get 50 votes and would therefore be able to move forward ultimately to the president's desk. We're going to have to wait a little while longer. Attention really shifts to the month of July when the Senate comes back from their 4th of July recess to see if they're able to come together on an agreement. Similarly, with respect to the OECD project, it's a waiting game. As I mentioned, we've now moved from the French presidency to the Czech Republic presidency. Will the Czech Republic be able to secure the agreement of all EU member states? We're going to have to wait and see.
Where should companies focus their attention in the coming week?
So as I mentioned, the Congress is out for the 4th of July recess for the week coming up, but that doesn't mean there won't be any activity. So I think with respect to U.S. legislative activity, the potential for reconciliation, we'll just have to wait and see whether there are any murmurings of a potential agreement between Senator Manchin and Leader Schumer that would set the framework for a deal. With respect to the OECD project, the first ECOFIN meeting, European finance ministers meeting of the Czech presidency, is coming up very quickly on July 12th. If the Czech Republic is going to secure unanimous agreement at that meeting, we will likely see some indication that they're moving towards that next week. So we will have things to look at next week, even though Congress is not in session, and even though there's not a formal EU meeting next week.